Imagine a world where the Tudor kings and queens never ruled England. One misstep, one untimely death, one lost heir, and the course of history could have been completely rewritten. The England we know, with its iconic monarchs, religious upheavals, and cultural transformations, might have never existed. Instead, a fragile nation could have faced instability, foreign invasions, or rival dynasties seizing the throne. The contrast between the well-documented stability and chaos of Tudor England and a world without its dynasty paints a striking picture. On one side, a lineage that shaped politics, religion, and art. On the other, uncertainty, conflict, and missed opportunities that could have altered global history. In this video, we explore the moments when the Tudor line teetered on the edge of collapse, examining key events, fateful decisions, and the lives that hung in the balance. From succession crises to early deaths, these turning points reveal just how close England came to a very different fate. Royal bloodlines are fragile. One illness, one accident, one miscarriage could unravel a dynasty built on ambition and war. The Tudors, despite their iconic place in English history, were no exception. Their ascent to the throne came at the tail end of the Wars of the Roses, a brutal civil conflict that left England fractured and suspicious of any new ruler. Henry VII, the founder of the Tudor dynasty, spent years consolidating power, navigating a web of rival claims, rebellions, and strategic marriages. His victory at Bosworth Field in 1485 was only the beginning. He understood that maintaining the throne required more than military might. It demanded heirs to secure the line. Yet even the most carefully laid plans were vulnerable to fate. Henry's eldest son, Prince Arthur, seemed destined to inherit a stable dynasty, but his premature death in 1502 sent shockwaves through the royal household. Suddenly, the succession plan shifted, and Henry VIII, a young prince untested in governance, became heir. This single tragic event created a domino effect, altering not only English history but the entire course of European politics. The role of Catherine of Aragon, Arthur's widow, became pivotal in this precarious period. Her initial marriage to Arthur and subsequent union with Henry VIII was meant to strengthen ties with Spain, yet the high infant mortality rates and repeated miscarriages cast doubt on the dynasty's survival. Every pregnancy carried the weight of national expectation. Each failed birth or child lost magnified anxiety at court. If Catherine had produced no surviving heirs, or if Henry had failed to secure another marriage that produced children, the Tudor line might have ended abruptly. England could have seen a return to civil war, a foreign claim to the throne, or even the rise of a rival dynasty entirely. Compared to other European dynasties, whose successions often followed more predictable lines, the Tudor line was inherently unstable. Every illness, political betrayal, or sudden death could have undone decades of careful maneuvering. Courtiers, advisors, and even foreign powers watched the Tudor family closely, knowing that the kingdom's fate could pivot on a single heartbeat. The tension in court corridors, the anxiety of dynastic survival, and the fear of lost opportunity created a world where every decision mattered, and every misstep was potentially catastrophic. This fragility extended beyond mere politics. Court marriages, religious alliances, and public perception were all intertwined with the survival of the line. Henry VII's consolidation of power laid the foundation, but it was Henry VIII's reign, fraught with miscarriages, marital controversies, and political enemies, that truly tested the dynasty's resilience. One wrong choice, from the execution of a favored advisor to the dissolution of a marriage, could have ended the Tudor era before it reached its zenith. By examining the fragility of royal succession, we begin to understand the delicate balance upon which the Tudor dynasty teetered. It sets the stage for exploring the pivotal moments during Henry VIII's reign where a dynasty's future hung in the balance, reminding us that the England we know today was never guaranteed. It was forged from a series of precarious chances and high-stakes gambles. What if Boleyn had survived, or failed to produce a son? A single heartbeat could have rewritten the course of English history. Anne's life, though short, was pivotal. She stood at the center of one of the most dramatic turning points in the Tudor dynasty. Her relationship with Henry VIII was not just a love story. It was the catalyst for seismic shifts in religion, politics, and succession. Henry's obsession with securing a male heir placed and under immense pressure. Her miscarriages, each a public heartbreak, exemplified the fragility of royal ambition and the high stakes of dynastic survival. The birth of Elizabeth, while historic, did not satisfy Henry's desire for a male successor, setting the stage for intrigue, betrayal, and eventual tragedy. Anne's precarious position in a male-dominated court heightened the tension. Every glance, every whispered rumor could tip the balance between influence and execution. Her eventual downfall, arrest, trial, and execution, sent shockwaves through England, demonstrating how a single queen's fate could alter the monarchy. But imagine an alternate scenario. What if Anne had lived longer, or miraculously delivered a healthy male heir? The very foundation of the Tudor line could have shifted, creating a radically different England. Under a stable Boleyn monarchy, the English crown might have seen unprecedented continuity. A male heir born to and could have secured the succession, preventing Henry's later marriages and the political instability they wrought. The ripple effects extend beyond family dynamics. A surviving and could have influenced the pace and scope of Protestant reforms. Without the oscillation between Catholic and Protestant rulers that characterized later Tudor reigns, England might have embraced religious reform faster, with fewer conflicts and less bloodshed. A stronger Boleyn influence could have reshaped alliances across Europe, consolidating power and perhaps even positioning England as a dominant Protestant force decades earlier. This point highlights the fragility of history itself. Minor events, a delayed miscarriage, a missed appointment, a favored advisor's council, could have changed the fate of dynasties. Anne's life encapsulates the precariousness of court politics, where a queen's survival hinged on producing heirs and navigating a labyrinth of jealousy, ambition, and intrigue. Suspense surrounded every moment. Each birth, each miscarriage, each conversation carried the weight of a nation's future. Comparing the actual historical outcome with this alternate possibility underscores the stakes. After Anne's execution, England endured a period of turmoil. The succession remained uncertain, religious divisions deepened, and Henry's subsequent marriages further destabilized the court. In contrast, a thriving Anne Boleyn could have cemented Protestant reforms and provided a clear line of succession, avoiding many of the crises that later plagued her daughter Elizabeth and subsequent monarchs. The contrast is striking. One queen's survival or failure could accelerate or derail the Tudor lineage entirely. As we examine Anne's story, it becomes clear that the trajectory of history rested on fragile human events. Her miscarriages, her triumphs, her downfall, each moment demonstrates how a single individual's fate could determine the political and religious future of a nation. Section 2 shows that the Tudor dynasty's continuity was never guaranteed, and a queen's heartbeat, a son's birth, or a court intrigue could have reshaped England's destiny forever. This sets the stage for exploring the broader consequences if Henry VIII had no surviving heirs, and the potential alternate paths for the Tudor line and English history. Let's imagine the worst-case scenario. The Tudor line ends within 2 generations. A dynasty that rose from the ashes of the Wars of the Roses, reshaping England politically, religiously, and culturally, suddenly vanishes. The implications are staggering. England, once a burgeoning power, could have faced chaos, foreign intervention, and a succession crisis that would echo across Europe. Consider Scenario 1. Henry VIII dies without a male heir. Edward VI, who historically became king as a child and ushered in Protestant reforms, never rules. Without a clear successor, England could fracture, with ambitious nobles and foreign powers vying for control. The carefully laid plans for the Reformation might have faltered, leaving England more vulnerable to Catholic influence or even invasion. Political instability at the top would ripple through the entire nation, creating uncertainty in every corner of the kingdom. Scenario 2 presents another chilling possibility. Mary I ascends the throne but dies childless, as historically she did. Without her, the crown would not pass smoothly to Elizabeth I. Instead, distant relatives, Scottish Stuarts, or even ambitious European dynasties could stake a claim. Imagine England ruled by foreign kings, embroiled in continental conflicts, with national identity and sovereignty in constant jeopardy. The internal anxiety, court intrigues, and potential for civil war would make the relatively stable Elizabethan era seem like an impossible dream. Scenario 3 turns history on its head even further. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, never ascends. Perhaps she marries abroad, as some alternate histories suggest, leaving England without the brilliant monarch who would define the nation's golden age. No Elizabethan Renaissance. No flourishing arts under Shakespeare, Marlowe, or Spencer. No naval triumphs against Spain, no expansion of England's influence on the global stage. The cultural, political, and religious landscape of Europe would be dramatically altered. Alternate claimants would step into this vacuum. The Scottish Stuarts, eager to unite England and Scotland sooner than historically possible, or rival European houses, such as the Habsburgs or Valois, with their own ambitions. The throne becomes a prize in a dangerous game of diplomacy and war, where the fate of the English people depends on the whims of foreign courts. Anxiety of national instability would dominate daily life, as fear of civil war, occupation, and economic collapse looms over every decision. The contrast between this hypothetical England and the history we know is stark. Elizabeth's actual reign brought unprecedented stability, cultural achievement, and global influence. Without the Tudors, the golden age of England disappears, replaced by uncertainty and stagnation. Society's confidence, religion, literature, and even the English language itself could have developed along entirely different lines, stunted or redirected by instability and foreign influence. These scenarios remind us how fragile history truly is. Each death, each failed marriage, each missed opportunity acted as a pivot, capable of collapsing a dynasty that had only recently risen to power. From the anxiety of uncertain succession to the fear of foreign domination, the consequences of the Tudor line ending early would ripple far beyond the royal court, shaping the nation and the world in profound ways. Section 3 demonstrates that dynastic collapse is not just a personal tragedy for kings and queens. It is a catalyst for national upheaval and global realignment. By imagining a world without Tudor rulers, we see how delicate England's golden age was, how much depended on a few crucial births, marriages, and survivals, and how a single lost heartbeat could have rewritten centuries of history. Without the Tudors, would England still become Protestant, or would it remain a loyal daughter of Rome? The religious landscape of England, so closely tied to the fate of its monarchs, could have looked entirely different. Under Henry VIII, the break from Rome was a personal, political, and dynastic maneuver, a path that forever altered English identity. But imagine an alternate England, and Boleyn survives, giving birth to a male heir and influencing Henry to champion Protestant reforms earlier and more decisively. The Boleyn Reformation could have accelerated Protestantism, embedding it deeply within the royal court and across the country decades before the historical Elizabethan settlement. The resulting society might have experienced less oscillation between Catholic and Protestant monarchs, creating a stable, ideologically unified kingdom with strong continental Protestant alliances. Now, consider the opposite scenario. Without Henry VIII's decisive split from Rome, England could have remained a loyal Catholic nation, firmly aligned with Spain and other Catholic powers. The dissolution of monasteries, a cornerstone of Tudor reform and wealth redistribution, might never have occurred, preserving centuries-old religious institutions and concentrating wealth among the clergy. Social mobility, which benefited from the redistribution of land and positions following the Reformation, would have slowed, potentially stifling economic innovation and the rise of influential middle classes. Even the English Renaissance, fueled by the intellectual and cultural shifts of a Protestant England, could have been delayed, leaving art, literature, and science to evolve along a markedly different trajectory. This alternate religious path also carries dramatic consequences for international politics. A Catholic England would have aligned more closely with the Habsburgs and France at different points, reshaping the balance of power in Europe. Protestant nations like the Netherlands and certain German principalities may have viewed England as an adversary rather than an ally, fundamentally altering trade, diplomacy, and even early colonial endeavors. The ripple effects would extend across oceans, influencing the speed and scope of English exploration and colonization. The contrast between Protestant and Catholic England highlights the centrality of the Tudors to national identity. Protestant England under Elizabeth fostered a unique culture, language, and global influence. Catholic England, while still powerful, would have pursued a different set of priorities, potentially delaying the rise of England as a naval and commercial superpower. Religious conspiracies, plots, and tensions that historically shaped court intrigue would have taken entirely new forms, with a queen or king navigating a landscape defined by allegiance to Rome rather than Protestant reform. By examining this alternate religious history, we see how the survival, or absence, of a few key individuals could radically reshape society. The Tudors' decisions did not merely affect succession, they transformed faith, culture, and international influence. Section 4 reveals the profound societal consequences of an early Tudor collapse or a Boleyn-accelerated Protestant Reformation, grounding our alternate history in tangible shifts that would redefine the very essence of England. What would Shakespeare have written if England had no Elizabethan Golden Age? The very fabric of English culture, which flourished under the Tudors, was fragile, tied intimately to the stability of the monarchy. Without Elizabeth I's reign, the vibrant literary, artistic, and musical innovations of the Elizabethan Renaissance might never have emerged. The theatres of London, the masterpieces of writers like Shakespeare and Marlowe, and the flourishing of poetry and music were all products of a court that supported and inspired creativity. In a non-Tudor England, these cultural achievements could have been muted, delayed, or completely absent, leaving generations without the works that define English identity today. The consequences extend far beyond the arts. Tudor stability enabled exploration and the birth of English colonization. Without the Tudors, England's ambitions overseas might have faltered. Colonies in the Americas, whether successful settlements or exploratory missions, could have been delayed for decades or never established at all. This shift would have dramatically altered global trade networks, leaving Spain, Portugal, or France to dominate the Atlantic world and shape the flow of wealth, resources, and ideas. The Protestant diaspora, too, which relied on the relative religious tolerance of Tudor England, may have sought refuge elsewhere, changing the demographic and religious map of the emerging Atlantic world. In imagining this alternate history, the ripple effects are staggering. England's muted culture would have stifled intellectual growth, innovation, and global influence. Naval expeditions, trade monopolies, and overseas ventures that historically defined the early modern period could have been lost opportunities, delaying England's rise as a global power. Music, art, literature, and even scientific inquiry might have evolved under entirely different pressures, shaped by political instability and foreign dominance rather than by the patronage and encouragement of Tudor monarchs. The contrast between actual history and this hypothetical scenario underscores the fragility of cultural and global achievements. Elizabethan England, with its flourishing court, inspired minds, and ambitious explorers, created a legacy that shaped not only national identity but the trajectory of the modern world. Without it, the English-speaking world may have lacked a unifying cultural canon, and global exploration and trade patterns could have been dominated exclusively by rival powers. This section highlights the awe-inspiring consequences of dynastic survival. Small changes in the line of succession, births, deaths, and marriages had the power to reshape literature, art, music, exploration, and even the balance of global power. By tracing the potential absence of the Elizabethan Golden Age, we see how closely intertwined history is with the whims of fate and the lives of individual monarchs. Section 5 emphasizes that the Tudor dynasty's early demise would not have been a mere political shift. It would have created a radically different world, culturally, economically, and geopolitically, reminding us how precarious the history we take for granted truly is. Without the Tudors, England becomes a chessboard for foreign powers. The carefully maintained stability that characterized Tudor rule would vanish, leaving the kingdom vulnerable to internal strife and external manipulation. A contested succession could spark civil wars, as ambitious nobles and distant claimants vie for the crown. Every death or disputed birth would not only destabilize the monarchy but also create openings for foreign intervention. Spain, France, and Scotland, each with their own dynastic ambitions, would see England as a prize to be claimed, manipulated, or allied with to serve broader European interests. Imagine England fractured by competing factions. Noble families, historically kept in check by a strong Tudor court, might rise in rebellion, turning cities and countryside into battlefields. Scotland, under the Stuarts, could assert claims to the throne sooner, potentially uniting England and Scotland under foreign influence. France and Spain, ever watchful of English weakness, might exploit the turmoil to expand their political and economic reach, forcing England into disadvantageous treaties or military conflicts. England's foreign policy, historically guided by Tudor diplomacy, would instead be dictated by crisis management as monarchs struggle to assert authority over an unstable realm. The contrast between Tudor stability and this hypothetical chaos is stark. Under Henry VII and Elizabeth I, England navigated religious upheaval, succession crises, and international tension with a relatively steady hand. Without the Tudors, succession disputes and weak leadership could leave the country fragmented, its identity shaped not by a homegrown dynasty but by foreign ambitions. England's sovereignty, hard-won through centuries of internal consolidation, could be eroded as alliances and treaties are manipulated by powers with their own agendas. Wars might be fought on English soil, trade disrupted, and political coherence replaced with a patchwork of competing authorities. Alternate alliances could dramatically reshape Europe. A Spain-dominated England might align closely with Catholic interests, altering the balance of power in Northern Europe. France might exploit unrest to regain influence in regions historically contested with England. Diplomatic negotiations that historically preserved England's independence could collapse, replaced by coercion and opportunistic treaties dictated by foreign kings and diplomats. Even small dynastic changes, a different marriage, a lost heir, or a foreign-backed claimant, could cascade into decades of instability, redrawing the political map of Europe. The anxiety of living under such uncertainty would permeate every level of society. Citizens, nobles, and merchants alike would experience fear of lost sovereignty, disruption of trade, and the looming threat of foreign domination. The shock of seeing England's identity shaped externally rather than internally underscores just how pivotal the Tudors were in maintaining continuity, national pride, and influence. Section 6 demonstrates that the Tudor dynasty's survival was not only a matter of internal stability but a cornerstone of England's position in Europe. Without them, the kingdom becomes vulnerable, its policies dictated by foreign interests, and its future uncertain. The Tudors' political acumen preserved English independence, navigated complex alliances, and established a foundation upon which the nation could thrive, a foundation that might have crumbled entirely in their absence. One dynasty, a few fragile heirs, and centuries of history hang in the balance. The Tudors' rise and survival shaped England in ways that defined religion, culture, and global influence. Imagine a world without them. Henry VIII dies without a male heir, Mary I rules childless, Elizabeth I never ascends, and the crown passes to distant claimants. Protestant reforms stall, the Elizabethan Golden Age never flourishes, and England becomes a chessboard for foreign powers. Literature, art, exploration, and trade take entirely different paths, leaving a nation unrecognizable compared to the one history gave us. These what-if scenarios remind us that history hinges on fragile moments, births, deaths, alliances, and court intrigues. The survival or failure of a single monarch could ripple across centuries, shaping the modern world in unimaginable ways. Reflect on the Tudor era and ask yourself, how different could England have been? History is fragile. One heartbeat, one decision, and everything changes.